With the recent re-release of Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 for the Nintendo Switch, I thought it'd be a great time to revisit these classic games and create a few videos exploring just how incredible they truly are. In this one, I'll be focusing on a topic that's become a staple of this channel, looking at the top 20 hardest stars here in this first Space entry, breaking down exactly what makes them so difficult, and where you can come across them throughout your adventure. Oh yeah, and before we get started on this blast from the past, my name is Copycat, and if you haven't yet, then please subscribe to my channel, hitting that bell to stay notified when I upload new videos. Starting things off at number 20, I want to look at a mission from the Freeze Flame Galaxy titled Hot and Cold Collide, which really puts your platforming skills to the test, as you're constantly switching between scorching lava and the slippery ice terrain. The challenge here comes from how often you have to adjust on the fly, especially during its last section, where you need to use an ice flower to skate across lava platforms and hope you don't go out of control and fall into the void below. It's a perfect showcase of how Super Mario Galaxy blends two completely different gameplay styles into one tough, fast-paced challenge that keeps you on your toes the whole way through. Next up at 19, I want to mention the fast foes on the Cyclone Stone Star of the Beach Bowl Galaxy. A much harder version of the previous mission from that area, filled with tons of enemies and tough platforming that will definitely result in losses of life. What's so different is now everything's moving at double speed, leaving you barely any time to react, where every jump and spin has to be timed perfectly, as one small mistake will send you straight into the abyss. It's one of those stars that really tests your patience and precision, turning a familiar stage into a nerve-wracking rush to the finish. In the 18th spot, I want to look at a star mission called Watch Your Step, which is part of the Matter Splatter Galaxy, where here you have to do just that, as the ground literally forms and disappears beneath you, depending on where the matter splatters. The path only reveals itself in small bursts, forcing you to move carefully and trust your spin move to help you gain more air so you have time to readjust. Again, one wrong step and you're falling straight into the void. A really super intense experience that keeps you guessing the whole time, and by the end, you feel like you earned the star. At 17, I want to show off a Sling Pod Galaxy star called A Very Sticky Situation, where you have to launch Mario using those weird devices and avoid obstacles that may be in your way to the star. Timing and patience are key in completing this short but punishing star, as a single misfire means instant failure, falling into the endless abyss, and eventually through a black hole. Really though, what makes this one grueling is that the controls are sensitive, as well as the timing being so tight to the point where you can't make any mistakes. And also, with hazards like cannonballs and moving platforms in your way, every shot feels like a gamble. It's incredible that the developers can turn such a simple concept like this into one of the most nerve-wracking challenges in this game. Up next at 16 is the Plundering the Purple Coins challenge of the Deep Dark Galaxy, needing to find each one in the half-sunk pirate ship within the level's cave systems. Really, why this one makes the list is the annoyance of having to do all of this in the dark underwater depths of the stage, which means you also have to do all this while managing your air supply and dodging lurking enemies through the maze-like seabed. The slow swimming controls make precise movements tricky, and overlooking even a single coin can send you retracing your path to the murky depths. This means you have to take your time whether you want to or not, being a star that demands careful navigation and nerves of steel. At number 15 is the really hard Cosmic Mario Forest Race of the Gold Leaf Galaxy, which on paper sort of seems simple enough, but racing your cosmic clone through this setting is actually way tougher than it seems. Obviously, you have to reach the Power Star before your doppelganger does. And spoiler alert, he doesn't really make any mistakes. So here the key of winning is mastering smooth movement, using long jumps to clear gaps quickly, using your spin jumps to gain height and control, and also trying to stay ahead of him right from the start. This can be done easiest by catching a boost right after the countdown's over, somewhat similarly to what you can do in the Mario Kart series, where here you just have to hold forward, press down Z or Z when the timer hits 2, and then just tap A as soon as it hits 0, where if you did it right, Mario will turn another color and you'll start to travel significantly faster than the clone. This only gives you a bit of an advantage, but because the terrain's uneven and filled with slopes and ledges that can easily slow you down, every second ends up mattering. And because it's so short, that ends up meaning a lot. In the 14th spot is a multi-molten galaxy star titled Through the Meteor Storm, which is a platform-based mission that is pure chaos from start to finish. Here you're navigating through collapsing platforms, lava geysers, and a constant barrage of meteors raining down from the sky, all while trying to keep your footing in some of the narrowest paths in the game. Even a small mistake can send you straight into the lava, making it one of those stars that constantly keeps the pressure on, demanding precise timing, sharp reflexes, and also a bit of luck. One of the most difficult parts for me is when you have to navigate through the lava cylinder all while on top of a ball, using motion controls to control Mario, making sure you don't only dodge hazards, but also that you don't fall through any of the holes. Now, I do find these motion controls a little bit hit or miss, especially on the old Wii console, but at least on the Switch, using the Pro Controller, it feels somewhat nice, so there's that. In the lucky number 13th spot is the Daredevil Run version of the Ghost Ship mission in the Deep Dark Galaxy, needing to take down the evil Magic Koopa boss, Camilla, but this time, if you're hit at all, it's over and you have to try again. The fight demands complete focus from the very start, needing to dodge her wide, sweeping fireballs, all while trying to grab the green shells she sends your way, sending them back to her when you see an opening. When you hit her twice, she retreats to the mass, and that's where the fight really begins to heat up. Here, the arena gets tighter, Magic Koopas appear that will bombard you from all directions, where you now have to weave between spells, also keeping track of shells, as well as making sure that you can throw precisely at her, something that's easier said than done. Next at 12 is the Rolling Star Ball Gizmos, Gears, and Gadgets challenge from the Rolling Gizmo Galaxy, being hard basically due to the difficulty of using the motion controls to control Mario while he's on the ball. Also difficult is that you have to navigate yourself through very narrow zigzagging paths, and also a whole bunch of rotating platforms, some of which are spinning, while also avoiding a whole plethora of foes, all of course while maintaining control of the ball. Like I just said previously, I always found this mechanic a bit hard to control on the Wii, but again, using the Switch's controller, whether it be Joy-Con or Pro, I found it much easier. However, when playing this in handheld mode, it somehow makes it more difficult, as I find you have to hold the system in a weird way and you can't exactly see the screen from the right angle, and it's just a headache. At number 11 is another motion control based star, and the galaxy's greatest wave one from the Loop-de-Swoop Galaxy. Here having to control Mario on the back of a giant ray, completing a lap within 3 minutes to win. This is somewhat similar to the Surfing 101 star from the Loop-de-Loop Galaxy, but the difficulty is turned up here to 11, where the course has many slopes, bends, and narrow paths, as well as a large loop halfway through the track that's insanely easy to fall off. Again, this is made much easier if you're playing the new re-released Switch version, as I just had so much trouble doing this at that time with the Wiimote. Although I remember using the Wiimote Plus and that was slightly better, but mine broke unfortunately really early into me getting it, so I couldn't test it out as much as I wanted. Up next, at number 10, I want to talk about the purple coins in the Desert Challenge from the Dusty Dune Galaxy, which here isn't a time-based mission, but still adds an extreme level of difficulty due to the intricate design of the level and the numerous hazards that the player must navigate through. This mission takes place on a maze-like planet with quicksand pits, moving platforms, and enemies such as thwomps and bone twisters. You have to carefully plan your route to collect all 100 of the coins while avoiding these crazy obstacles, ensuring that no coins are missed and that the player can return safely to the starting point to collect the star. Backtracking to find any ones that you might have missed is just a pain and takes up way too much of your time, although it's not the most difficult one that we'll see in this video. At 9, I'm going to showcase the purple coins of the Summit Star in the Freeze Flame Galaxy, that I think is pretty hard to get due to the large amount of obstacles that get in your way, as well as how hidden some of these coins are, leading to an experience that might take a few tries to complete. You have to constantly swap between Ice Mario to skate across frozen pools, as well as Fire Mario to melt past to go forward, needing to know when to use the right one to get what you need. The layout is also really sprawling as you have to make your way up the mountain, and there are tons of nooks and crannies to easily get lost in, with a few coins probably hidden in those awkward spots. By the time you reach the summit, the Toad Brigade is cheering you on. Although that's only a celebration if you've gotten all the coins. If not, you have to go all the way back to square one and start again. Next, I want to look at another purple coins challenge, this time in the Melty Molten Galaxy, called the Red Hot Purple Coin Star. A mission that's deceptively brutal, especially as you have to do all this while dealing with a ton of lava pits, and the sinking platforms on top of them that will cause you to burn if you aren't careful. On top of all that, there's so many other ways to lose a life, whether it be via enemies like the little cinders, or hazards like the lava geysers or traveling lava bursts. So when I say take your time and understand your environment, I mean it. What's even crazier is that this is all the case without a timer. So just imagine one was added here, as it would probably make the top of this list easily. The star I'm going to mention at number 7 seems at first on paper that it would be pretty simple, but in the end turns out to be one of the most frustrating of this game, in the Dreadnought's Garbage Dump Challenge of the Dreadnought Galaxy. This is a Gearmo based one, where you have to clear all the garbage piles in a limited amount of time by throwing bob-ombs at them to destroy them away. Now this isn't just about spam throwing as many as you can in as little amount of time as you can. The real trick is to aim for the coins on the ground, which are the yellow spots, being great targets as this will allow you to blow up more than one at a time. This is a super short but unforgiving test of precision and timing and skill that turns something basic as throwing bombs into one of the more frustrating tasks in the game. Up next in the 6th spot, I want to show off the Bouldergeist Daredevil Run boss fight of the Ghostly Galaxy, where you're up against one of the most intense bosses in the game, but this time, you only have one hit point to work with, meaning there's really no mistakes allowed. The battle itself is already tough, with the Bouldergeist hurling rocks and summoning bob-omb-boos that you have to grab and fling back at him to chip away at his armor. Once you progress to the next part of the fight, he grows 2 massive stone fists and starts slamming, punching, and spawning spike pillars everywhere. Some luck and precision is needed to line up the bomb-boo hits while avoiding constant attacks, which can also be very tough. And if you miss it all, the fight continues to drag on longer and longer to the point where your nerves start to break before the bosses does. Making the top 5 is one of my least favorite levels of the entire game in the Electric Labyrinth of the Bubble Blast Galaxy. Having to use the really annoying Bubble Mario mechanic to navigate through the hazardous maze and get all of the star trips so you can get to the star. Oh yeah, this bubble is fragile and will break if it touches literally anything, whether it be electric rails, rotating walls, moving amps, mines, bullet bills, it doesn't matter. Touch any of these and it will pop and you'll fall into the black hole below. Navigating requires a weird balance of holding A to blow stronger and move faster, but then that makes it harder to control, where if you tap A for finesse, you're also then vulnerable to being pushed into danger. It's really complicated. Also, in a later section, you're being chased by bullet bills through narrow corridors, all while having to dodge mines and rotating hazards. All on top of this, with the bubble's slippery motion working against you. So you better be skilled or else you will get a headache. At number 4 is another Dreadnought Galaxy star, here though titled the Dreadnought's Purple Coins, being an extremely tricky platforming challenge that takes place on moving platforms, as well as over a void that's super easy to fall into. There's really no margin for error at all. Failing to even grab one of these coins means you have to restart the entire run. And with the myriad of enemies and obstacles that you also have to deal with, your focus needs to be precise. Although, I guarantee you'll have to practice this a few times to finally get each one. Other purple coin challenges are difficult because you might have missed a few and need to backtrack through the stage to find them. But here that isn't the case, as this is basically an auto-scroller and there's literally no way of being able to go back. So, be prepared to lose a heck of a lot of lives. At number 3 is a star that many consider to be the hardest in the game, but I think it at least deserves to be near the top, in the Luigi's Purple Coin Challenge of the Toy Time Galaxy, where here you're put on Luigi's side of the 8-bit planet and only given 3 minutes to collect 100 of the 150 purple coins scattered across it. The layout here is tough, as there's disappearing platforms, rotating platforms, as well as poisonous pits that you can fall into. So planning is a must, as you can trap yourself with no route back, with the only option at that point being dying. Because the platforms vanish or rotate just as you're stepping on them, and poison lurks just on the other side of that, one misstep can send you plunging to your death. Again, like previous challenges, you need to use your spin attack ability in mid-air to ensure that you can safely make it to the next platform, but that's also easier said than done. Nowadays, I'm really good at completing this level, but when I first came across it when it first came out, I was flabbergasted at how insane this actually seemed. So I'd love to know if you think it's easy or hard in the comments below. In the penultimate spot of this hardest stars video is the purple coins in the Bone Pen Challenge of the Ghostly Galaxy, a fast-paced test that takes place inside a tight Polestar maze surrounded by danger on all sides. You need to collect every purple coin scattered throughout this bone-filled arena, all while facing a strict 1-minute timer. What really makes this star so stressful is how little room for error there is. One bad pull or missed coin can completely ruin your run. The Polestar itself also demands total precision, since moving too fast can send you slamming into electric mines, or drifting just out of reach of the next coin. Also, even after you manage to collect all 100, the challenge isn't over, as you still have to grab the Power Star before the timer runs out. Something actually pretty crazy that you don't see in other challenges, making this one just one of the toughest of the game. Before we get to my number 1 pick, here are some honorable mentions. Coming in at the number 1 spot of this hardest video is the Lava Spire Daredevil run of the Melty Molten Galaxy. Having only 1 hit point to work with, in a place where it's easy to take damage, leading to some pure insanity. You're forced to cross virtually the entire volcano planets, dodging lava bursts, flying fireballs, sinking platforms, falling debris, and shifting ledges where one mistimed jump or touch of any lava means you have to restart. The hardest part for me is always the Polestar section, where you have to not only dodge the small lava planets, but also the fireballs that they spew out from time to time. Something that can be very unforgiving due to the weird controls there, so expect to die. Also, the end is daunting as the lava starts to rise beneath you, forcing you to frantically climb up the narrow ledges of the spire before it's too late. There's no time to stop or think. But once you reach the top and snag the Power Star, it's pure relief. A reward for surviving one of the most tense, heart-pounding challenges this game has to offer. Alright, that's gonna be it for today's video, guys. I really hope you did enjoy this one. Comment below what you thought about it, and of course subscribe to my channel. Hope you guys all have a good day, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!